Oh, hey there.
Hello,
Must be Mr. Adam.
I'm Mr. Adam, Jake's teacher. What's your name?
I'm Philip.
Phil. Nice to meet you. Have a
Thank you very much.
seat, and let's
Alright,
talk a little bit about Jake.
Yeah, so when I was reading his report card, I saw an emphasis on the LS and WH.
Absolutely.
And I was just kind of confused. Well, not confused, but wondering as to what that was and whatnot.
That is a very, very valid, concerning question. Here in Ontario, so as teachers, we believe that instilling these values, learning skills, and work habits in our students, such as responsibility, initiative, independence, collaboration, organization, and self-regulation, will enable our students to succeed in their academic, personal, and professional lives. And these learning skills and work habits must be evaluated so students can improve and refine them to achieve success in their endeavors. Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for clarifying. So I understand the importance of these learning skills and work habits, and I'm really happy that I have the opportunity to know on what Jake's supposed to be focusing on. But it seems abstract. How do you evaluate and assess these different skills and habits?
Absolutely. That's a really important thing to discuss. As teachers, we are looking for different attributes and things that our students do that indicate they are learning and applying these skills and habits. So right now I'm just going to describe some of these indicators, so things that as teachers we are looking for that show that our students are demonstrating an understanding of these learning skills and these work habits. And once I describe each learning skill, I'll give you some ideas of how Jake is showing his ability to learn each learning skill and how he, applies these work habits in the classroom.
Excellent. All right, well, I'm curious to know, so go ahead. I won't interrupt.
Absolutely. So these come from the Ontario Ministry of Education's Growing Success document. They kind of provides a guideline for teachers on what to look for in students when they are trying to master these different learning skills and work habits. And as far as organization goes, we're always looking for our students to devise, to follow plans and processes for completing their work. We're always looking for our students to establish priorities and manage their time to complete their work tasks and achieve goals. And we're always looking for students to identify, gather, evaluate, and use information and the technology around them to further their academic success. So, with that being said, with regards to Jake, he does an excellent job of identifying what needs to be done for completing his classroom work, as well as his other tasks in the classroom. He follows instructions, and he uses the information around him to guide his work. Every morning, without hesitation, he puts his agenda in his mailbox near the door, and he goes right to the classroom carpet to begin the day. So he knows the routine, he's organized, he comes in, and he knows what he has to do. Students in our classroom have a chance to partake in a preferred activity, which is after they're done their work, they can have a little bit of free time and they can choose what they would like to do. And Jake always makes sure that he gets his work done in a timely fashion and with care. Obviously, he always hands in very quality work, and he always does this before partaking in one of his interests. And I have to say that he is very determined in this respect, and he uses his interests as motivation to get his work done. So I really like, I definitely think organization is one of Jake's strengths.
Cool.
He's very good at that.
Yeah, he's pretty organized at home, so.
Another learning skill that we try to monitor of our students is self-regulation. And we're always looking for the student to seek clarification or assistance when needed. We're looking for the student to assess and reflect critically on their own strengths, their needs, and their interests, as well as we're looking to see if the student is able to persevere and make an effort when they're responding to challenges.
Okay.
And with Jake, he has demonstrated his ability to succeed when he tries his hardest and when given a work task in the classroom. Although he is a very hardworking student, I've noticed that he can occasionally let his confidence take control of what is expected of him in a lesson. And that sometimes might lead to him making little mistakes. For example, the other day, he got through a math worksheet fairly quickly, but I made some small mistakes that I believe he could have avoided if he had asked for some clarification. So with this being said, I really encourage Jake to seek more clarification if he's feeling unsure about a concept or a work task. And on another note, he really enjoys doing hands-on work, right? It's very much engaging for him, and I noticed that this is a really good way for him to learn. It's probably one of the best ways for him to learn is by doing hands-on things, such as working with manipulatives in math and doing fun experiments in science. So I think that's a really beneficial way for him to learn is by doing hands-on activities. And I noticed this when we were building, I noticed how much he enjoyed building different machines, incorporating the simple machines we were learning about in science. So we're learning about different simple machines, and then in order to have students really understand how these simple machines work, we have them incorporate them into a machine, like something like a car or a catapult, to explain levers or wheels and axles. Another learning skill that we as teachers are looking for is independent work.
Okay.
Instilling independence in our students is really important, and what we're looking for as teachers is to see if our students are monitoring, assessing, and revising plans to complete work tasks. We're always trying to see if they're using their time efficiently in class to complete work, and another big part of it is seeing if students can follow instructions without lots of supervision, just having them independently know what they have to do and complete the work task. And with regards to Jake, he has a very strong sense of self, as I'm sure you might know, absolutely, and excels at figuring out what he needs to do in order to complete work tasks. The other day, while building a car out of recycled material for a science lesson on wheels and axles, Jake was following instructions step by step on how to build the car, and when he encountered difficulty with building the car, he would look for different solutions to the problem, such as finding a way to make the wheels stay more securely on his car's axle. And Jake does an excellent job of listening to and following instructions, and needs a little prompting when it comes to completing work tasks, which is one of Jake's, I'd say one of Jake's really good strengths.
Good.
So his independence, he knows what's expected of him, and he gets right to work.
That's my boy.
That's your boy, yeah, he does a great job of that. Another learning skill and a work habit that we as teachers are looking for is initiative. And things that we are looking for are that our students demonstrate curiosity and interest in their learning. We're looking for our students to approach new tasks with a positive attitude. And we're looking for students to look for and act upon new ideas and opportunities for learning. Something that I've observed about Jake over the course of the year is that he sometimes has difficulty staying motivated to learn new topics and can lose focus when we are learning something new through classroom discussions. This being said, this can lead to Jake being disruptive at the carpet, as he has the ability to distract other students sitting close to him. This is something that I've really been focusing on working on improving with Jake. And I always make sure that if he wants to sit next to someone in particular at the carpet, he needs to show me that he is responsible and not distracting whoever is around him. This being said, Jake responds really well to being refocused if he needs help with doing so, and he shows an abundance of positivity towards learning new things.
Cool.
Which it's something that he needs to work on, but he's very good at refocusing and redirecting himself when he has a little bit of assistance and guidance. Just a reminder that he needs to be present in the classroom, not only physically. And I would also like him to be mentally present in the classroom when we are, sitting at the carpet and having classroom discussions. Another learning skill that we look at is collaboration, and we are always looking for the student to accept various roles and an equal share of the work in a group. We're looking for him to share information, resources, and his knowledge that'll promote critical thinking to solve problems and make decisions within a group. We're looking for students to respond positively to the ideas, opinions, and values of others, and we're looking for him to work with others to resolve conflicts and build consensus to achieve group goals. And with Jake, he's a big part of our classroom. He has a great personality and gets along well with all of his classmates. We sometimes have language centers set up around the class that students rotate around in groups, and during our language arts block. Jake is in a group with 3 other students, and I have noticed him working well with his partners, as he is always trying to meet challenges by discussing with his peers what needs to be done in order to solve the problem. He communicates well with his peers during different group exercises, and he offers to help students who are having trouble with whatever learning task we're working on, which is quite impressive to see. So I really think that's one of Jake's strengths too. Another learning skill that we look at is responsibility. And what we are looking for in the student is that he fulfills his responsibilities and commitments within the learning environment, that he completes and submits classwork, homework, and assignments according to agreed upon timelines, and he takes responsibility for and manages his own behaviors. So with regard to Jake's responsibility, he's very good at understanding what is expected of him within our learning environment. He shows his capacity to work towards his academic goals and uses the information and resources provided to help him succeed with his academics. Jake knows that during learning blocks, he needs to focus in order to complete his work, and almost always does so. He contributes to our classroom community by being kind to others, as well as working collaboratively with others to meet common goals. One thing I believe Jake needs guidance with and has room to improve is how he manages his behavior. This is one of the big things, something that he really needs to work on. Jake has a tendency to disrupt classroom discussions by calling out and not raising his hand, and when we are at the carpet, so this might not allow the children to maybe provide an answer or participate. It might it just kind of disrupts the flow of the class. And he can also, like I mentioned before, disrupt other students he is sitting with during learning periods by having side conversations or joining in on general silliness with his classmates. They kind of just, they'll sit together and they'll start, losing focus and just doing things that'll just distract each other. With this being said, I'm incorporating different strategies to try and limit these unwanted behaviors. And as far as gathering all of this information, there's no specific rubric for evaluating these learning skills and work habits. So what we do is we gather evidence of their learning skills and work habits through checklists, by reviewing their own self-assessments. And I make these observations. I walk through the classroom. I'm always seeing what students are doing and taking anecdotal notes on Jake on all these different learning skills, and just seeing where he needs improvement and seeing what he's really good at.
All right. Well, I'm really happy with these. Generally, he sounds like a good student. He seems like he works quite hard, and like you said, he does need to be better in some areas. So is there really anything that you're going to implement in the classroom to help him become a better student? I'm not worried, but I'd like to know if you could tell me. And is there anything at home that maybe I could do that's going to help him with his struggles?
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked. I'd like to start by just saying it's a pleasure to have Jake in the classroom. He really is an important part of our classroom community. He's a very hard worker and has a great rapport with his peers. Something that I would like to implement in the classroom to help Jake mitigate his disruptive behavior and during classroom discussions is to have Jake reflect on his own behavior and why some of the things he does might not be helping him, might not be helping out the classroom community and the goals we're trying to achieve. If I can get Jake to realize what he is doing is disruptive to both myself and to his peers by helping him reflect, he can find strategies to control his urges. We will sit together both one-on-one and within classroom discussions to create behavior expectations for all students, and not just Jake, just to follow in the classroom. So they can all be held accountable for their behavior. A suggestion I would like to make for you and your family with regards to Jake's occasional lack of interest with learning new topics is to have Jake recount what he has learned that day in school at home with you guys, and have a conversation with him about what he is learning to keep him interested and thinking about what he is learning about, just a way to keep him focused and maybe eliminate the urge to just kind of lose interest and be disruptive.
Excellent.
Is there anything else?
Well, I'd just like to tell you, honestly, Mr. Adam, that I'm very happy. It sounds like you have things under control, and I trust you with my son's future.
Well, it was a pleasure talking, and I'm excited to see the rest of Jake's progress throughout the school year. So thank you for coming up. If you have any more questions, you could just send me an email. Don't hesitate. Thank you very much.